Oh, knees. We're back.
National will re-emerge from this loss a stronger, disciplined and more connected party.
We will be a party that governs for every New Zealander.
Apologies if it gets annoying, but 10 minutes is a long time.
When the tide is going out, no matter how loudly you shout on the beach, you're not going to turn it around.
Politics flows through his blood.
No question about
he's
that.
Absolutely.
The sea of red destroys National.
It all came across a bit minstrel, if you ask me, but when it was over, Labour had nailed it and National had muffed it. But we barely had time to relax before Tova O'Brien woke up after a 2-hour sleep, smashed down a 1.5 litre bottle of Monster energy drink, and had herself a Jamie Lee Ross barbecue.
This might be the last time that you're on air, probably the last time that we'll invite you on. Out of National, out of Parliament, out of botany, your political career is in tatters. You were whipping up fear and hysteria among vulnerable communities. You sold your soul for political ambition.
I could see.
I don't want to hear any of that rubbish.
My final gift to the National Party was.
But by Monday, we were back in familiar territory. The morning shows on TVNZ and 3 were knee-deep in post-mortems. Judith Collins dragged herself in front of the cameras, wielding her talking points like silver crosses.
They need stability in particular. Stability is absolutely crucial. We have to have stability. We have to have somebody who knows how to run things.
The 6pm news shows led with the introduction of all those new MPs to Parliament. On One News, it had this weird echo effect down the rest of the bulletin, where you were constantly being shown pictures and footage of brand new babies in unfamiliar surroundings. Whether it was baby koalas rescued from Australia's wildfires, or adults taking their first bike ride.
I'm just still dreaming. I did well.
I'm getting used to everything and knowing where everything is right now, right? It's a big place.
The other big story was the next move for the Greens and whether they were going to be welcomed into the arms of government.
Your preference for working with the Greens?
And look, obviously those are things that I want to talk about with the Green Party first.
They just kept asking.
Do you expect there to be a formal coalition agreement with Labour?
We expect nothing.
And asking.
Can you rule out a formal coalition with the Greens?
And again, as I've said, I want to make sure that I'm having these conversations directly.
And asking.
We can't go into any detail about the discussions.
And asking.
Cannot comment on what's going on in the negotiations.
And asking.
Say coalition.
On the project, we were treated to a behind-the-scenes look at journalists covering the election in the field. It turns out it was a massive waste of time.
We have been cleared to pack up after a huge night of doing absolutely nothing.
That was followed by a pretty good eulogy of Winston Peters' political career.
In the 90s, he got wind of companies using the Cook Islands as a tax haven and launched the Winebox Inquiry.
All right, time now for Fitukoi, 7 Sharp and the brouhaha, love that word, over a bikini.
But back on TVNZ, 7 Sharp was actually doing the nation a huge favour by effectively making it impossible for anyone else in the future to ask Kieran McAnulty about his ute.
Do you think that some people were actually voting for the ute and not you?
Well, I mean, I'd like to think not, but to be honest, I'd like to think that they can see that I try not to take myself too seriously, and I'd like to have a bit of a laugh, and maybe it contributed in some way to that.
I'm only kidding, really. I'm only kidding, really. Of course they voted for you. Lovely to talk to you.
Not really.
Look, at this point, complaining about 7 Sharp is worthless. It's a magazine show. It's always been a magazine show. It's more concerned with reflecting New Zealand back at itself rather than explaining to us why we are the way we are. But it seems kind of weird the day after what was a huge historic election, the first couple of shows back were filled with items about Elvis impersonators, Wagyu meat, and an ad for another TVNZ show.
Out. Come on, Jono. Good boy.
Personally, I find the show fine, and I like Hillary and Jeremy, even if it's unsettling at times to watch him in the role he basically made a career out of lampooning. And to be honest, sometimes I don't really know what I'm watching.
Nice melons.
Oh, thanks very much. I picked them up today, actually. Beautiful melons. What? These are sugar baby melons. Are they? They
look lovely.
They're a good size, these melons, don't you think? Just the perfect size, not too big, not too small.
Quite a handful, though.
Very weighty. You wouldn't want to be carrying these things around all day, that's for sure.
Are they sort of getting in the way?
A little bit. Just of this particular part of the show. Go on. Look at them.
I just don't. This is a family show.
These are melons, Hilary. I've got melons.
Look, at the end of the day, after weeks and weeks of campaign flim-flam, it was actually kind of relaxing just to get back to normal news.
11 international fishing crew test positive in Christchurch isolation, 14 more under investigation.
Yes, relaxing. Oh, knees.